Ladies and gentlemen, this is the assignment that was due before your last test. So here it is. The topic is the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. I'm going to go ahead and go through this movie, explaining how to do the assignment. And if you could, just go ahead and get it in as soon as possible. I understand that right now we are preparing for the midterm exam. So if you want to hold off and do it and submit it after the midterm exam, I'm fine with that. Just make sure you get it done soon thereafter. Don't wait too long. So the midterm is going to be at the end of this week. So I really need you to have it completed by the top of next week so I can go ahead and include it in your grade. Okay, so just as a rule of thumb, on any page where you see the piece of paper with the little pencil, that's the indication to let you know that you should go ahead and copy down these notes. So I don't have to read these notes to you. This is the background information that talks about some things that were going on during the Civil War and as far as the railroad's concerned. So go ahead, if you need to pause the movie right now, go ahead and pause it, take down these notes, and then you'll proceed to the next slide. Okay, so the focus of our lesson was actually on the Chinese and their part in building the railroad. As you can read here on this slide, it says the building of the railroad depended on the labor of hundreds of thousands of workers, roughly 200,000. In the West, most of the people who built the railroad were Chinese. Okay, so the essential question for this lesson was, why did white Americans pass the Chinese Exclusion Act? So, of course, it's a document-based question. You will look at documents. You're going to look at a timeline, and you're going to look at 4 other documents. And this is going to help you arrive at a conclusion as to why Americans passed the Chinese Exclusion Act. Task number 1. I want you to take a look at the timeline provided. And below, I've just provided a snapshot of what it looks like. So I've given you this timeline in class. You should have a copy of it. If you do not have a copy of it, just ask me for a copy and I'll provide you with one. What you want to do is focus on the events and activities that take place between 1860, when the Chinese are welcomed to America as laborers, and 1882, when the Chinese Exclusion Act is enacted. I understand that the timeline does have some time periods before that, but just go ahead and look at the part between 1860 and 1882. Once you've done that, I need you to complete step 1 of the graphic organizer provided. If you notice here as well in this slide, there's an image of what that document looks like, at least the top portion of it. So go ahead and complete step 1 after you've looked at the timeline. Okay, task number 2 requires you to do a few different things. You need to read documents A through D, which have been provided, and below you'll see a snapshot of each one of those documents. For each one of those documents, I need you to write evidence you find for what led to the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to include a snapshot of the bottom portion of that graphic organizer, which was on the last slide. That's where you're going to put this information. So on the next slide, you will see a snapshot of that document. So you'll go ahead and document the evidence you find for documents A through D. All right, so step 3 or task 3 is actually the last step in this process. In the space provided within the box and the sheet provided, which is on the back of the graphic organizer, I need you to answer the following question using at least one piece of evidence from each of the following. So I need one piece of evidence from the timeline, a piece of evidence from document A, a piece of evidence from document B, a piece of evidence from document C, and a piece of evidence from document D. Therefore, you should mention 5 pieces of evidence. And the question again is, why did Americans pass the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882? And as promised, there is a snapshot of what that page looks like at the top of it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. You know, you can always send a message at Moto, or you can see me in class. But like I said, don't rush to do it if you haven't done it already before the midterm. Go ahead and focus on the midterm. And then soon after the midterm, whatever that first day is next week, I need you to go ahead and give it to me so you can work it over the weekend, I guess. If you have any questions, just go ahead and let me know. And I hope you enjoy the activity.